Today I'm with Lydia Wilmsen, and she's going to speak a little bit about art, about her impressions, about books, and many important things to connect with ourselves, the mindset. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine, thank you. So lovely to speak again with you, and such an important topic, I would say, as well.
Thank you very much for being here with us. And tell us a little bit about art, how it impacts your life, what kind of arts you prefer.
Oh my God, I could talk for ages about that. But I basically come from an artist family, so we have a lot of artists in our family who made paintings or sculptures, even famous artists in Germany. And my parents had a gallery, so I grew up in the past basically 15 years with a lot of art and going to many, many art fairs, and all my life going to museums. And I was never the person who made art. I might be the only one in my family who is not artistic with her hands, but more with my mind. But just growing up with art, also the history, where does it come from? And like the depth that art brings to our lives has always been very impactful and very important for me. So as an introvert, like I like abstract paintings. I can sit in front of like Mark Rothko, one of his paintings for half an hour by myself, and it's just pure bliss. It's just paradise. It's very calming, yeah, it's just very beautiful. So it has a big effect on me.
That's great. But we can say you do art. Encouraging people to find their own voice is a kind of art. Congratulations for your work too.
Yeah, okay, you're right. Of course, I am creative. I'm more creative with my thinking. I'm creative what I bring out in other people, but not that I create something with my hands?
That's great. And how do you connect yourself to your own creativity when you need to work on that?
hmm I would say everyone has to find their own processes here. I don't have like a specific process. I think at some point to really become aware that we all have art in us, that we all are creative, whether it is this very small perception of I have to paint, I have to write, and this is how I'm artistic, or if just my being is artistic, like everything is creative. Everything we create is creative expression. And when we have that, I feel that's the very first step to being creative. And then it is very, subtle or very individualistic how we bring that out. So for me, I need a stimulating environment. If I have like a big horizon to look into, and art is that for me, it's a horizon. I look into a painting. It starts my imagination. I get immersed in different worlds. That initiates creativity in me, my thought processes. So it's the environment for me that is very important. And for other people, it might be just sitting down and writing and just starting to write, no matter what comes out, not judging. But yeah, that is my process. The environment is extremely important for me.
And is there a very specific kind of art or a painting is something that can shift your mind state when you need
Mhm.
some inspiration?
It can almost be any art. So of course, I already mentioned abstract art, abstract expressionism. I also love, of course, images from or paintings from Monet, so more impressionist stuff, expressionist. I love all of that. So it can be figuratively or not. It doesn't even matter. It is more knowing that there was a person who created that art and put all their energy in there. So it's the energy that transmits through the painting. And if I know, and that is also the difference between, sometimes people say like, oh, everyone can make abstract art, but it's not true. When you look at abstract paintings and the painters, so look at them and what they created before they started into abstract art. They were beautiful, amazing painters. Like they made amazing art. Like look at what they did when they were young. So they have massive, massive technique, but they chose a different path. But you can see and feel the depth in those paintings. It's not just like throwing some color there, and that's it. You can feel the depth, you can feel the expression, you can feel the energy of that person and their thoughts and their experiences through their art pieces.
That's true. There is Schoenberg, which is a German composer, and he kind of created a kind of different music, but he also used to teach the traditional harmony, and people used to go to universities there in the United States, I think,
Mm.
and think they would learn new things. But the
Mm.
method was we have to know the basic, the main idea of construction,
Mm.
then we can improvise. I understand what you mean. That's
Yeah,
really
so
important.
I have an example. For example, everyone knows Picasso. His images, his paintings are being sold for multi-millions. And people say like, but look at this face, it's ugly. Look at what he painted when he was 15, when he was 18. Look at the beauty that he created. But then he transcended that. He wasn't about depicting like just in old style and traditional painting style anymore. He wanted to create something new. But you know that he knew the basics and he knew them to perfection, actually. So that's a good example.
Yeah. So maybe it's connected to the work you do, which is the people understand themselves, how they were raised, and all the beliefs they have before they became what they are today, right?
Mm.
This is a very important connection you can
Mm.
do with your work.
Yeah. It's the connection, and I think also in music, in all arts, it's pain and beauty. It's everything of life, you know? It's like if an image or a painting just shows beauty, it's shallow. But if you know what the artists went through and the pain they transformed, this is what you see there. And the same with music. If you just have like nice, bubbly, whatever harmony, it stays on the surface. But you can feel when it goes into depth, when there is the pain, the experience is transformed by those artists. And this is what I feel is a very important factor in art.
That's
Whatever.
true. I agree. On psychoanalysis, what we say is that there is a sublimation of all our libido and all the feelings we have. Like Beethoven, there was death. If you listen to his letter, the testament, there is something about being deaf, which is very important. Maybe he couldn't deal with life
Mm-hmm.
on in another way different than music, and
Mm.
this was how he made possible to express himself in a beautiful way, very deep,
Mm.
but always ending up happy somehow or with full of hope. This is
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. And that's the other part because then there is art, like I go back into paintings and stuff and sculpture. Then there is also art that only depicts like pain and the problems of the world, and it can make you very like weak and very um, almost hopeless. So for me, it is really, really the connection between pain and beauty. So for me, art also has to bring in beauty, otherwise, it's hopeless. So there is some modern art that only shows the horrors of our world, and it's important that we have that, but I cannot connect deeply with that because there is no solution. There is nothing to go for, nothing to strive for anymore. It is like giving up. So I need the connection.
I understand. And what could you tell us about the favorite books, the ones that you really read and they made you think different at a certain point?
Mhm. Oh, I have stopped reading. I read I read fiction now. I read crime novels. But even that can be really interesting because again, for me, it's about the human psyche. So when I read crime novels, of course, it's about the why someone becomes a murderer or why someone does bad things, and also the psyche from detectives. I know it's very specific, but I'm always interested in that, like why, like we spoke about this in the last interview, I think, hurt people, and to understand why they have been hurt, what has been going on. So this is always super like interesting for me because I learned from that. I get new ideas and I build new hypotheses for my own clients. I don't work with clients like that, of course. And still, in small instances, we go through the very same patterns. We hurt people. We don't kill them, but we hurt them. And we are being hurt. So we can learn a lot from that. And of course, I have read like Dostoevsky and all the big names out there, and they're fascinating, but I don't have the one book that has transformed me. I would say it's all of them. The same with it's not the one piece of art, it's all of them.
I believe Agatha Christie and people like this are very interesting to be read. One because you can have some fun. It's mysterious and it's attractive to us to read about mysterious things. And the
Yes.
other is that they make us think, as you said, right? So it's important to do like this sometimes, to read just for fun, do things just for fun, because your work demands a lot of energy, right?
Mm, exactly. And I feel, we both work in the field of personal growth, personal development. And if we only read those books, at some point it's full of information, but we need time, we need integration time. Like all this information needs to be digested. If it's like if you were eating but you were never digesting, you fill yourself up, it comes out everywhere. It's not healthy anymore. So we need those times to digest, and the same with self-help stuff, and we need time to actually apply those things. So it's not just about reading, it's also then about applying. And sometimes integrating new things is easier when you take your mind off them. So if like you read a crime novel like I do, then, it's time to integrate the other things. It's not that your mind is like we can do many things at the same time. So there are still processes in your brain, like they are still active, integrating other things, even though you're focusing on the crime novel. So it's actually very important to have time off.
So do you think in this society we are living in, people are demanding themselves to be productive all the time? They don't give themselves some time, as you said, to digest the things.
Mhm. Yeah, it's so interesting that you're asking that because while I was talking, I was already thinking about that. I was already thinking this is one of the big pieces in our society that is more and more missing. And when we chatted before, I was already mentioning that they are taking out the arts from schools. So this is what they want to skip first, no more creative arts, no more music. This is what they think they can take out. And it's detrimental to our brains. It's detrimental to our evolution, to our development, because this is the time where we digest information in a different way. But we are so focused on productivity and getting one thing done after the other. And I'm going to record a video for my own YouTube channel after this about a client who stepped into utter like doing nothing. And he was a high achiever before, he still is kind of, and he's not used to not doing anything. And it was always framed like that. If he didn't do anything, it was like, oh, now I have to integrate to then be productive again. So it was never, I'm not doing anything now. I am just here enjoying this moment. This wasn't possible, and this is not possible for us anymore. We can't do that anymore. We are constantly active, checking, getting better, self-optimization, and to just be okay in this moment with whatever it is, even if we are in pain, even if we are like suffering, and to see this as 100% existence in that moment. We don't learn this anymore, and it takes away massively from humanity.
That's true. And how can you use art in general for a self-reflection to understand our own universe?
There are, of course, whole like concepts and techniques when it comes to using art for self-reflection and using art for even, personal growth or therapy, like there's art therapy. And just tiny things that I would do is if you have a question and you don't know the answer, take a stone, take a leaf, like take something from nature, or take a painting and start asking yourself the question, I don't know, it could be, why am I sad today? Or I don't know what to do with this and that situation. I need some new ideas. And then you look at the painting or at the leaf or at the stone and you start seeing things, like you just observe it and you see it. And for example, I'm looking at the computer at the moment. I see the black frame and then I see our video there and I start seeing that. And I keep asking myself that question. And at some point, what your brain does, it connects dots. It creates solutions. It creates answers. So you asking the question, I'm not sure what I could do next, or I'm unhappy. What can I do? Your brain will make connections. It will see like a little on the stone, a little stripe, a little colorful thing, and it will create meaning for you. Like, oh, but look, there is a different color. There can be color in my life again. Oh, and there is an interruption. The line is not even. Ah, that can be normal in my life, that the line is not even, because in nature it's also not. That's just a very simple way of explaining it right now. But you basically ask objects to give you answers, and then you let your brain fill in the dots. So do you understand how I mean that?
Yeah.
Very short now, but yeah, that's a beautiful way to use art to find answers and to get out of difficult situations.
And somehow we have lost the ability of thinking like a child. For example, when you learn how to read, you go on the streets and read everything there is,
Yeah.
and you always ask why. And why do you think we lose this ability, or this? We don't give ourselves this possibility of doing this anymore.
Hmm. I would say it's part of it is societal conditioning, of course. And then I would also say, we could have some more sinister thoughts that certain people are, of course, interested if we are just consumers and if we are just workers. So the more we do self-reflection, the more we ask about things, the less we can be brainwashed, the less we can be guided from the outside. And many people don't want this. So, of course, they bombard us with different information, with social media, with media to bring us out of that. And when it comes to society, at some point, it was all about productivity. It wasn't about feeling, it wasn't about being anymore. It was about doing. So it shifted. And of course, we can go into history. We could talk for ages like, where did this come from? But when you look into history, it makes sense. We needed the work power, we needed people to work. So of course, there was no time for reading anymore and sitting around idle. Like people needed to work. And for that, you cannot think about being and like enjoying art and stuff. You have to go get work done. So these are two reasons I would say, or two lines that point you into into the direction why it's yeah, why it's not why we are just about being productive nowadays.
Yeah, and maybe when you talk about artists, they have a paradox in their lives. They want to be accepted, to be praised by the public, but at the same time, they want to be revolutionary. And most of them that are immortal were controversial people, right? So this is always a kind of a thing for us. Are we going to be accepted if we do something really that people don't do? We will be in the groups. This is a food for
Mm,
thought, I guess.
yeah. Yeah, and often when you look at artists, they are often very eccentric personalities, either introverted or very extroverted, but still they have something in their personality that is kind of different. So that's the kind of inner silent or very loud revolution in them. But of course, one of the biggest desires all of us have is belonging, as you said, and we don't want to be outcasts because this equaled death before. And it still kind of does, if we are really honest. if you're outcasted, if you're not belonging to a group anymore, it can cost your life, you know? So yeah, it's an interesting paradox, but this is what again creates the art. It again creates the power, you know, the pain, the more than superficial that we then thrive on, that we listen to, that we look at, and it impacts us. It touches something in us that we also feel, but perhaps don't express as much as artists do. Or you could say from yourself, because I think you play piano at least. So do you feel that in yourself?
Oh yeah, it's a very hard situation because we are always wanted to be seen, but at the same time we want to hide. I don't know. Sometimes it's just the piano and I, some reflections about the world in general. So I want to keep myself to myself, you know. And at a certain point, you want people to listen to you. You want to be popular. I would say popular as a musician because we need public. Today I only compose, but I find this is a very good way to connect myself, everything that I feel. And as you said, it's very important to be natural when you write. You don't
Mm,
always write very happy songs, let's say like that, but we are always connecting our own
mm,
being
mm,
with the music.
mm, mm.
So I have a question about this. Is there any song or are there any songs that you hear and you feel, oh, this guy has written the song I wanted to, you know, the lyrics are perfect, like speaking to you, you know? Is there a favorite song you have?
I don't listen to songs, I don't listen to lyrics in songs. So I cannot sing a single song. I don't listen to lyrics. I just listen to the melody, to the energy, to the sound. And even when I listen to German songs, I almost don't understand what they are singing because I'm so focused on something else. So for me, it is not the text that's important in music. It's really what it opens up in me, but through the music. And this impacts me so much. So it can bring me to tears. It can make me utterly happy. And of course, the lyrics are still there, but this is not what creates the feeling in me. So I'm sorry, I cannot give you any text pieces now, because for me, it's music. It's the sound of the music. And I love everything. It can be electronic music. It can be you mentioned Beethoven, you know, like all the beauties out there. Oh my God. Beethoven's, I don't know if it's his ninth or whatever, the famous piece, it brings me to my knees almost. It's so beautiful. So I almost, yeah, I love classical music. But of course, even opera. But if I listen to opera, it's not my extreme favorite. But even if I listen to that, I listen to the passion. You know, I don't listen to the words. I listen to the whole experience, so to say. Does it make sense? So I might be a little bit
Yeah.
different than other people, but I'm not about the lyrics.
I think you connect with music as a language itself.
Yeah.
It's not necessary to say something, but it's already there on the maybe the melody is the most
Mm,
important thing that connects us. This is really important. I think some musicians sometimes lose this ability, you know, of let's not think music because of course they have to think music differently, not as a non-professional musician,
mm,
but sometimes they play so much so many times that they, oh my god, don't like to play this anymore, and now is the
yeah.
time I'm playing this well. It demands a lot of
Mm,
energy.
mm,
um I was wondering, talking about films, um this can connect us with reality, and what kinds of films do you recommend? I mean, horror movies will bring into a bed, perhaps fantasy, but some of them are very bad energy, right? Do you
mm,
think the movies can influence in state of mind?
mm. Yeah, and even music, you know, if you listen actively or not actively, but if you hear the words and you listen to them. It's like subliminals. So you take it on. So this is why I love classical music again, because I don't have the song texts. And if I listen to a lot of like heartbreak music, for example, like so many people listen to breakup songs and then they wouldn't wonder that they are constantly breaking up with their partners. It's like, yeah, but what are you feeding your mind? And when it comes to movies, I like all kinds of movies. I don't necessarily like horror movies so much, but just because I'm easily frightened, and if something happens, I'm like, oh my God. But again, I like detective stories. So it's not always nice stuff that I watch, but I watch it with a lot of discernment, I really again take out the important pieces why I watch it, like what I'm interested in. But I would definitely like if someone is impacted and has like a lot of shitty things happen in their lives, I would really take a serious look at what you're listening to and what you're watching and what you're reading. If it is just really, really bad stuff, and then I would start cutting this off and for a time listen to uplifting music, uplifting movies. And for me, for example, very dystopian movies, this is difficult for me. If it's all dark and all again hopeless, like this impacts me the most. I cannot watch this. Then I would rather watch a horror movie where it's just like bam, 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 but like ridiculous stuff. I would rather watch that than very dystopian movies because they bring my energy down. Like after that, I'm done. I don't want to live anymore almost. So yeah, it is very impactful. And if you can feel that in your life is something not going in the way that you want it to go, I would really check not only what you digest food-wise, what you're digesting yourself with like brain-wise, what kind of movies, media, even social media, and make a change there, definitely.
That's true. There is a very good writer, my favorite, which is Johann Wolfgang von Goethe, which
Goethe,
is
okay.
amazing. And I like something that is attributed to him is that a man speaks about what is in his heart. So a repetition of things that you hear, things that you read can be on your speech, so you can easily identify the um, the mental state of a person by what
Yeah.
they say.
Totally. Like I can listen to them, when we have our first call, or even when I'm having a so-called sales call, like sometimes people before they book one-to-one with me, they do want to meet me in person, and then I do that. It's not always, it's not obligatory, or I don't always do those calls, but if they want it, of course we hop on a short call. And then I let them talk. I ask them, how are you? What is going on in your life? And then I directly get a lot of information just by the voice or by the words they use, the voice, the whole micro expressions, everything. And it tells you so much. So I already get a very clear picture and I have a lot of hypotheses. And then I check in with them, could it be that this and that? And then, of course, I hear their answers. So yeah, you can totally hear, like if, for example, someone is always complaining about everything, you know that this area that they are complaining about is not going to shift until they stop complaining about it because they hold it in place through complaining, through this negative image they give it. They hold this scenario, they hold this version of reality in place. So they will have to stop that. They will have to give up the addiction to that if they want this area in their life to change. Otherwise, it will not happen.
Yeah, so you have to, start focusing on what you can do and don't think about what you can, and perhaps things can change. Yeah? Because if you give a lot of attention to only one thing, perhaps you can find a solution even because you can
Mm.
only think about the problem, not the solution itself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a very different focus, like problem focus and solution focus. They are on opposite sides. So if you want a solution, you have to go to the solution and not keep focusing on the problem. Yeah. It's very
that's true.
simple, but very difficult to do for people, me included. It gets better with time, but this is almost the paradox of being human.
Exactly. And do you feel that some people have difficulties in taking compliments but critics are always welcome. For they believe in the criticism, and they don't believe when people say good things about them.
Actually, many people, I would say. And even people who can take compliments, it doesn't mean that they believe them. You know, it's easy to say, thank you, so sweet of you. So, for example, you look beautiful, you have an amazing dress. And they would say, like, thank you, but internally they feel like this is stupid, I feel ugly, or whatever. Or, you know, if someone says, oh, amazing piece, you know, amazing content you wrote there, I love this. And the person is like, thank you, or, you know, but internally they feel, it's so difficult, you know, like I really don't think it's good. They just said it to please me, you know, this kind of way. Very, very common. Yeah.
I thank you very much for being here with me again. I would like to interview you again soon. It was a nice conversation, very important topics. And would you like to send a message to or for people all over the world that will be listening to you?
Yeah, let's just end it like and bring it back to art and creative expression for everyone. So a lot of people who are self-employed, for example, either with arts or with creative writing, you know, even business owners who do their own marketing. So for everyone, I just want to encourage everyone to keep going and to keep expressing themselves. Like right now, of course, we have a lot of AI coming. However, the human expression coming from your heart will always be the most needed out there. And this is what actually distinguishes us from AI. It is our creative expression as a human from heart, like from our heart. This is, I think, even some of the biggest names out there have said that. So never ever give up on that. Like, this is something you will always be able to trust. Never ever give up. Keep using that voice and keep being creative. And I already explained I'm not creative in the traditional sense. However, I'm very creative. So, whatever you do, there is no like, there is never, you can never say that you're not creative or you're not good at it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to become the number one top piano player in the world or something, but you can make people utterly happy with what you're doing right now. So I used to play cello, and my mom, she was so happy, and my partner, they were so happy when they listened to me, even when I just played very simple things. So you can make people utterly happy with the simple, like the most simple creative expression. So please use that, because I feel we need so much more beauty. We need so much more heart expression in our world, and so much more happiness and joy in making other people happy and making ourselves happy. Like, this literally decides if we will keep going as a human race, you know, or if we will vanish from planet Earth. So keep at it is my big message today.
Great message. And what is your website and the contacts if people want to get to know more about your work?
Hmm. Yeah, my website is my name, lydiawilmsen.com. You can check it out, and you find me on all socials. So if you want to connect with me, ask me questions, share something with me, reach out on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. Those are the main ones, basically. And I'm happy to listen to you and, yeah, hear what you have to say.